going to need the most explanation from us on what's changing and why. There is a MADURAI way of playing where you sit in void mode for as long as you want to build up an infinite damage cap. This is used from expert Eidolon hunters to max their damage. And we did change it, but we're not trying to be too destructive. So we just didn't like that you had to sit invisible in the game to get the best damage buff possible.
Right.
We understand that Eidolon hunters have put a lot of work into becoming experts using these certain things, but we hope you can at least take a look at what's coming to understand why we think it's better. And we will be listening to your feedback as well after, but I'm just going to go right to Void Strike because there's no point in not, so you'll have to hide me, Dean. Void Strike is now an activated ability. So instead of waiting in your void mode for, ever, essentially, you now press 1 and your entire energy pool is drained, and you now have a sustained damage increase for 8 seconds, which means all damage you deal for 8 seconds has a 10% per energy. So it's a very, very large buff that you'll be getting in an 8-second window. And all it will require you to do is to press 1. It's on a cooldown, but for that 8-second window, you will be blasting.
Yeah.
Your damage buff will be on everything. We're talking shotgun spreads, absolutely everything. So essentially, every 40 seconds, you get an 8-second colossal damage buff.
Yeah, like if you do 100% energy, you're 1,000% damage for 8 seconds.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if you use 100% of your energy pool for this, which is to say, you go into void mode, which is your stealth mode, or actually you don't even have to. You just need to turn into your operator. So you don't even need to go invisible anymore.
Just press 1.
Go to operator, press 1. That's 100% of your energy drained, which means you have a major damage increase. So this is the plan. It's feeling pretty good, and we hope you give it a try. And yeah, that'll be part of the changes for MADURAI.
Mixed reaction.
Mixed reaction because
fair.
Well,
It's
it's
fair.
just a
It's
lot.
fair.
It's a
It's
lot to
painful.
take in,
Okay.
and it's changed. But I think it's into time for a refresh.
it is.
Yep.
Yes, it is. We'll take a look at, we'll read chats and feedback after, but essentially this should be enough for you guys to build a understanding of how it's going to work and what the rotation and flow is going to be. It is very powerful. So, and you don't need to sit in void mode at all.
Just
Like,
sitting
that's
there.
not exactly the best way to show
Right.
the game and the gameplay. So anyway, that's why that's changing. And then Void Fuel, which is, so this actually, there's more, and hopefully you'll be able to see where we're going with this. Your weapons also get ammo efficiency. So if you're using something that has, say you're using something with low magazine capacity, you get 40% efficiency for it. So not only are you getting 8 seconds of crazy damage buff, you'll also just straight up be using less ammo. So if you had something with only, 4 bullets in the magazine, there's a 40% efficiency on it, which means you actually get way more use out of the weapon for the buff. So reloading won't be as relevant because it's literally a buff chat. Thank you, Twitch viewer, for realizing that it literally is, but there's ways that it's not too, and that's just,
It's changed, and it's hard to kind of grasp, like, just reading it off the screen. Like, playing it, definitely you get a better feel for it, so.
yeah. All right, that will be the Void Strike, Void Fuel, so you get, it's literally, 40 seconds does change it, but you had to sit invisibly for a long time anyway. We'll get into it, we'll talk feedback, and we'll read the dev workshop, but this is where we're going with that. So thank you for sticking with MADURAI, and we're going to go on to power transfer. This is where your 100% amp critical damage for 20 seconds on switching to operator, or 50% casting speed on switching to Warframe. So when you switch between, your operator and your Warframe, you'll be either getting a crit damage increase on your amp, or you'll be getting casting speed increase on your operator. So as you rotate between the two, you'll be getting effectively a damage buff on your operator, and you'll be getting casting speed on your Warframe. And then we'll go into chained sling, which means you have energy efficiency on consecutive void slings. So as you're going through traversing, you won't be using as much energy to do so. And then sling strength, which means that when you switch to your Warframe after a chained sling, you get ability strength. So you'll want to be chaining your slings, switch to Warframe, and then you get some ability strength for your Warframe. Contamination Wave, this is your second ability for the MADURAI tree. Pressing 2 emits a void wave lasting 2 seconds that drenches enemies with void contamination, making them 25% more vulnerable to operator damage for 20 seconds. And then if you kill an enemy, it'll make all affected enemies 25% more vulnerable, along with the effect lasts 10 seconds longer, maximum 3 stacks. So you're kind of coating enemies in the contamination. You can get a loop going where you're spreading it, max 3 stacks and keeping the duration going. So you can sustain a contamination wave potentially infinitely if you're playing within this. Yeah.
And then those are the same.
Not subtle changes.
Not subtle changes.
No.
All right. Inner gaze. I think these are exactly the
Inner
same.
gaze and eternal gaze are the same, yeah.
Yeah. And these are your way bounds,
Yep.
so you'll be able to unlock these on any tree. So you can get more energy for your amps, more regen for your amps and void beam. We have not done Vazarin.